Hello everyone, these are going to be your messages for June 2019. My name is Joanna the Medium. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you like what you find here. I am not a traditional tarot reader. I guess I would say I'm an intuitive psychic, even though I hate that word. So majority of my messages comes through intuition, and you'll sometimes hear me talking to spirit out loud. Point is, if you are looking for a traditional tarot reader, that's not me. So this is obviously general. If these messages don't make sense to you, do listen to them later. They seem to make a lot of sense down the road for many people. And first and foremost, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you, again, who are new, thank you for taking the chance. My aim is always to give you something to chew on, to think about. My aim is not to make you believe anything or change something inside in you. You know what my gift is? Not my gift, my passion is, aside from empowering. I actually got this morning in my meditation. I just kind of went, yes, that's exactly it. I was being shown that I get information. It's almost like a roadmap, and I give it to you. And once you have a roadmap, you know where you're going. So whatever that means to you, that was obviously a metaphor. My aim is to give you a roadmap, but it is up to you to take it. It's up to you to look at it and see if you like it. And then consider looking at the map and seeing where it leads you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's absolutely up to you what you decide. And nobody's right or wrong. This is just my perspective from spirit. And if things have not been working for you for a while, trying a different perspective sometimes can usher brand new, beautiful experiences. So do know that this is general though, so it may not apply to everyone. Of course, for private information or private sessions with me, that information is always down below. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want to wish you best of luck in the month of June. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being part of my channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Without further ado, let's move on to each sign. Hello, beautiful Sagittarians. These are going to be your messages for the month of June 2019. This is the second run at this. The first time I felt so much resistance. The entire video, when I listened to it, it just didn't gel with me. And I listened to it twice, and something just told me I almost felt like I was suspended when I was giving those messages. It's like I couldn't quite get my message out. And as I'm talking about this right now, I'm realizing that perhaps some of you feel that way right now. There may be a level of resistance you have been experiencing regarding a situation, and there is it's very hard for you to get something out of you in terms of what's the word, please? Communication. So perhaps that's what it was supposed to mean. The interesting part is that I did your messages a couple of weeks ago. So I waited to the very end till I was done with all the signs to just make sure that I wanted to redo it. And yes, I do. And what's interesting that after 2 weeks, you have the same card as an end result. That is not a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence per se, but if this isn't a confirmation to me, I don't know what is. So as I'm doing this, because I've been asking myself, why does that happen? And I've learned to know that there's always something to be learned from, regardless of what it is, even though the situation at hand may not seem like it makes sense. Oftentimes, it will make sense much more later. And as I'm talking about me, I know I'm talking to you. So there might be something in your life right now, or something you have been facing, where it may not be making sense to you. It may not be going according to your plans. It may not be this or that, but at the end of the day, whatever transpires out of that situation is something very fruitful indeed. I want to say this as well. Big gifts or large gifts come in small packages. Don't let don't let that fool you. There's a message here. There's a little message hidden here. And you might be presented with a gift of some sort, and you might think it's not a big deal, but I'm thinking, what could that be? Like, what could it be? You receiving something thinking it's not a big deal, but then it ends up being something amazing. Okay, let's say somebody gives you tickets to concert, and it's not really a concert you want to go to, but your friend is taking you to a concert. So you don't want to say yes because you don't want to say no because it's your birthday. So you decide, okay, I'm gonna honor my friend. He's giving me the tickets. I'll go with them. Lo and behold, you get to the concert. Halfway through, there is someone that crosses next to you, and your eyes lock, and there's an instant connection. And at that moment, a relationship, something is born. The connection just made a spark, and from the spark, well, whatever happened. So that is that's obviously a metaphor, but it's also an indication that some of you might be experiencing being in receipt of something, and you may not think very much of it, but at the end of the day, it turns out to be something quite amazing. You might be dating somebody, and you're just not sure, and the person doesn't really fit your standard whatever, and but your standard doesn't work, and hence you're with someone who is not your standard. And then you let go of your preconceived ideas of how things should be, and you end up experiencing enjoyment in the experience. And you begin to realize that you, for example, fall deeply in love. And so those are the things. So every one of you will have a different situation going on. So this, I don't know how this pertains. This is general. But chances are either you are dealing with that, you have been dealing with it, or you will be dealing with it very shortly, where something may not seem that great at the beginning, but then it turns out to be something amazing. So equally so, I feel this is about taking a chance at something that can profoundly benefit you down the road, whether it be a chance on a new relationship, a chance of a new type of a person, a chance of a new job, whatever chance, you guys know what chances are. And the feeling I get is that the universe is full of gifts for you. And for those of you who have been digging the ditches in terms of doing hard work, working on your foundation, feelings, emotions, you have come to a point where you are now ready to receive what is rightfully yours. And that to me says that you have not been receiving what you have wanted, perhaps for a very long time. And as a result of working on your foundation, it's a metaphor, you are now beginning to attract much more of what you want, but previously couldn't have. When I was in meditating, I was receiving a whole bunch of information. It wasn't necessarily for you, but it's now coming to me, so I feel it was for you, or also for you, where we attach labels to things. And the message I was getting was, what if we didn't give things a meaning? What if let's say you're experiencing something and it's uncomfortable and you don't know what to do. What if you let go of the meaning of what the situation is? In other words, it doesn't mean it's good, it doesn't mean it's bad, it's just an experience. If we could let go of the labeling, I feel like we would be much better off. And as I'm saying this, I'm trying to understand, and it's not quite coming through because my brain is a little bit out there right now. I'm trying not to analyze, but there's a message in it for you. For those of you who get it, who understand it, and if you want to comment, please do, because I always find it very, very fascinating. All right. Let me tell you what I was also getting from my meditation. The idea of holding on to that has to be released or should be released was also signified. And it's interesting because the card of a hanging man actually came up, what you're letting go. So the message was consistent with what the cards are saying. but the idea of hanging or being like the hangman, and it's always for the purpose of safety and security, whatever we perceive safety and security, and whatever, and it's usually a belief that in this case, whatever you are holding on to is no longer serving you, and you know you need to let it go, but it's difficult for you to do so for various reasons. This could also be a relationship you're holding on to, a dead-end job you're holding on to, and because in some way it represents stability, right? We know how that works. We do it all the time. However, I was also being made aware that for a majority of you who will hear this is something that you are on the, how do I say it? I also say at the end of the road as far as this lesson. Okay, let's call it a lesson. And for many of you, this is a karmic lesson. And what is the karmic lesson? Okay, what's the karmic lesson here? What is it that they're dealing with? Primarily, safety and security within your own body, within your own being, that then translates into safety and security in terms of how you feel within the world. Pretty standard. I would argue that we all deal with that on a certain level. But because this is being mentioned to you, chances are that some of you are dealing with this and it's quite prominent in your life. And hence why, for those of you who this is given, you are in transitions. You're moving from one way of being to another way of being. You may not be there yet, but you are absolutely in transitions. Again, I'm being asked to say, big gifts come in small packages. This is the second time this is being said. I don't know what this means for each and every one of you, obviously, but just kind of leave it on the shelf and see if that makes sense to you over the next 2 to 3 months. And thank you. I don't feel this is going to cover only June. I feel this is going to go for 2 or 3 months. So June, July, let's say August. They seem to flow that way now. But I also know that, I'm being asked to say it's more than just June. And many of you write and say that most of these things don't make sense to you until the end of a month anyway. So this may transpire over the next few months. The good point is, nothing is bad. You are at the end of that road. If you have been trying really hard to stay safe and secure, whether in a relationship, whatever, safe and secure, and you have been holding on to things that you have outgrown or things that have outgrown you, including a belief system, chances are pretty good, quite high, that over the next 2 to 3 months, you will either exit those situations or you will transition out of that way of being. And for some of you, this means you have to face your own demons and quotation marks. You have to face your own shadows. And the purpose of that is because apparently either you are already at a brand new beginning, or there will be a brand new beginning very shortly for you. And perhaps for those of you who do not know what this new beginning is, or that there will be a new beginning, perhaps it's the gift that the universe is giving you in a seemingly small package, and then it turns out to be something quite big. I'm trying to think what could be the example, but then I am interpreting it in my way, and I want you to have your own interpretation. Okay, couple of cards in terms of animals. The first one you get is a fox. So who does this represent? Majority of you, this card represents you. And when I look at the fox is very resourceful. Fox is also a bit of a leader, not like a wolf, but fox is a leader. It can be mischievous, but it's firmly grounded. And I do believe that's an earth sign. Yes, it's firmly grounded. But the symbol of this fox refers to companionships or a partner. So some of you might be entering into a partnership or into a partnership or a relationship, which is also a partner. And again, I hear big gifts come in small packages. This could go either way, career, job, or a relationship. It could go either way. But the point of this is that either you're partnering with someone or you are welcoming a new partner into your life. That's not a small thing. So that message stands on its own. And the fire ant came up. And when I kind of tuned in, what is the fire ant about? First of all, it's a fire energy. So it is, it's your passion. It also could be anger. But what this message said to me when I tuned into it was pretty straightforward and simple. Avoid drama as much as you can. So perhaps it is to avoid drama with this new partnership, or, well, of course you would want to avoid drama, but sometimes we're addicted to drama, and drama is what keeps more drama coming in. So if you have a tendency towards being involved in a whole bunch of dramas, notice how you play part in it and then decide to exit out of it. And the next time you make a friend or a partner or an acquaintance, you are more likely to say, no, thank you, when drama knocks at your doors, and say, hey, let's play. So that's what I want to get here. Because it is the fire element, I want to say for many of you, this is regarding work. So these two cards actually they stand on their own. I don't necessarily see a connection here. If you do, that's fantastic. You can just comment. I do feel this is at work. For some of you, it is about resisting the need to prove yourself and trying to convince something of which they are not ready to be convinced of yet. I'm going to have to rethink that. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll let you interpret this. So if you are in a family where there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, try to avoid drama as much as you can. The fox here is as a leader. It's a very sturdy sign. So perhaps you're being asked here, instead of being the follower, be the leader for once. And I'm not saying all of you are not leaders or you're followers, but chances are that there are some aspects of your life where you do not feel like you are in control, and perhaps you feel something or someone else is in control, even if it's just your beliefs. And when I say just, it's not a small thing. So avoid drama at all cost. I keep hearing family member. This is going to be for those of you who have drama in your family. Some of you have a drama with brother, or you are at odds with brother. Something about stop trying to convince this person. So if this is you, it's not going to be all of you, obviously. If this is you, take the high road, be the leader, and walk away. Not dismissively, but avoid drama as much as you can. Hugely important. And that's not just for June. What's leaving? This is very interesting, because you have the Hangman in reverse, you have Nine of Cups in reverse, and you have Lovers in reverse. So for those of you who don't know me, I don't read tarot cards as per tradition. I've never learned. It's not my gift. I get intuitive hits from it, and some symbology I'm beginning to remember. When I saw this, it right away told me that if you had any insecurities, or if you have any emotional instability or lack or insecurity around relationships, if you have been feeling stuck, it is on the way out. Whether it is because the old relationship was on the way out, whether it's because you're separating, or whether it's because you're choosing to look at things differently, i.e. change your thoughts, and you are moving that behind. So that is how I felt this message come through, which does make sense when I look at the new beginning that was shown to me. And I was seeing a vision of the, what's the word, please? What's the word? Magician. So you know what a magician is, manifestation. So it makes sense that you are letting go of this, because there is a brand new beginning just around the corner for some of you, and for some of you, it's just happening as we speak. So I said, what is it they might want to look out for, good or bad? This was interesting because the Empress came in, and so did the Ten of Swords. So I had to tune in and kind of go, okay, like the Empress is bringing gifts. Why is this person feeling so deflated? And I feel, this is kind of interesting, because I feel that whatever the universe is giving you, whatever the universe is birthing for you, whatever you are birthing, it I feel it's going to cause you some anxiety. However, the anxiety is, the number 10 is the end of a cycle. So it feels like whatever the anxiety is, that is connected to something good, but maybe your fears are getting kicked up, that this may not be real, that this is too good to be true. You know, the stories we tell ourselves, whatever it is, whether it's a job, relationship, whatever it is, situation. I feel it's going to kick up your fears a notch. But the reason why this is transpiring is that because I feel you are about to break that pattern, you're about to break that chain. That's the chain around insecurity. So if you have been craving for security and safety, who wouldn't? Everybody does. But if you've been craving it and you haven't had it, chances are it's because something inside of you needed to be addressed. Having worked through many things, and I'm sure many of you do shadow work, that's generally who I attract to myself. In terms of who is viewing this, where was I going with this? Through having gone through work, facing some things, universe is ready to give to you. I mean, Empress she's holding this baby. There's the green to me always symbolizes in this picture. There has been a lot of healing going on. The healing is not only in your heart, because this is predominantly the area that's being shown, but also the hood to me represents that it's your head, which is your thoughts. Well, this is your thoughts. This is your thoughts. So if you interpret these cards differently, by all means, please do. However, this is how I see the message. So, very interesting twist, because you may be getting something you're not expecting, and it may turn out it's something amazing. And it turns out to be something amazing, and it kicks up some fear of yours. And I have a feeling it's to do with a relationship for many of you. For some of you, this is going to be around a commitment to something else, like a job or career. But for many of you, this is going to be around a relationship, and not necessarily just a romantic one, because we have relationships with many people, like the person I mentioned who has a relationship with a brother who's at odds. Where is this leading you? Yes, hallelujah. 5 of Wands in reverse. How I perceive this is no longer feeling like you need to defend yourself. Why would we feel like we need to defend ourselves? Let me just tune into that. Because ultimately we don't feel safe. And this is not saying that you don't protect yourself with everyday things. No, this is about fears we have about being loved, about being cared for, about having stability, about having support. Whatever it is that we all need in order to survive, not just survive, but thrive. If there's any insecurity around safety or lack of safety, we will naturally tend to be a little bit more apprehensive of trusting. However, this is what's leaving you. So in upright, to me it symbolizes a fight, but not necessarily fight with other people. Yes, it can be. So for some of you, you're letting go of a fight. The drama that I was talking about earlier, particularly in the family, if you have been fighting and if you have been in the middle of a drama, you're letting that go, okay? For others of you, this is the need to fight. It's not the need to fight. Give me a different word. It's like this constant, not need to battle, defending. Defending is what I get. This person to me is fighting within himself or himself, but also with other people. And he's obviously defending himself. So okay, take it for what you will. Point is, you're moving out of that. If not in June, then in the next 2 to 3 months. And that's fantastic. Couple more things. Yes, couple more things. The card that came up again is for you than it did last time. Solar consciousness. When I tuned into this card, without looking at what the interpretation is, when I tuned into it, I felt that you are about to go through some threshold that at first can be very scary, but moving past this fear allows you to go to a place you haven't been before. And that is a metaphor. Whether it's a physical place, most likely it's going to be a place within you in terms of state of your being. So if I say that some of you are facing your fears, even amidst something good, this is what this represents. The red here to me represents fire. It represents first chakra. And whatever is on the other side is a feeling of contentment. Let's put it that way. In order to get there, you have to walk through this fire, so to speak. So it may feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. And again, relationship, job, whatever it is. But you're about to walk through this. 3 is a number of expansion. 4 to me is number of stability. So in terms of your stability, or what you know to be your stability, your awareness or consciousness is expanding. Now, Empress is also expansion. It's thriving, it's birth, it's essentially the same thing. The next card you have is called Peaks of Joy. Now, just look at this picture. I don't need to, 33. I don't need to say anymore, I don't think. Just look at the picture. It's called Peaks of Joy. This woman, I believe it's a woman, she's flying high, and her arms are outstretched and her chest is open. She's abundantly ready to receiving by being, I would say she's vulnerable here. She's pretty vulnerable. Yet she's not closing down or hunching down, afraid that she's going to fall. She's trusting the process. So there's a metaphor here. For those of you who are going to hear it, you'll hear it. Not only does this symbolize joy is coming to you, and perhaps you're already experiencing this, but it's not coming out of the blue. You have been working. You have been facing your own self. You have been putting a lot of work and effort into the person called you. And as a result, this is what you're getting. 3, again, expansion, double 3 is 6. That's the Lover's card, which apparently you have. So it's contentment, it's balance, it is harmony and balance within you, but then harmony and balance that is supported by people and situations outside of you. So for those of you who have had major commitment issues revolving around fears of safety and security, you are moving much more into a space within you that feels not only more safe, but more content, more at peace with yourself. And that automatically allows you to relax. When you relax, you're less resisting. When you're less resisting, you're also much more open to receiving. So doesn't matter how I see it, this is a beautiful thing. I do have one last message for those of you who are healers. Actually, you know what? Not necessarily healers. This is a card of assistance without interference. So I'll tell you what I was getting from this right off the bat. For some of you, it is important that you don't get yourself into a situation that by trying to help someone, you actually prevent them from learning their own lesson or from having an experience that would allow them to gain strength in who they are. So if you are, I'm going to give you an example that's coming to me. If you are a parent and if you are spoon feeding your child who is 15 or 16 or 17, and you're doing everything for him or her because, well, they're busy and, you know, you've got time on your hands and you know, you just, and maybe you have your own guilt from your past. Who knows? We all carry that. Most of us do. And you're doing everything for him or her because you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart. However, and I think you guys know what I'm going to say next. What happens, unfortunately, is that that child never really learns to take care of themselves because everything is taken care of for them. So they become a little bit ill-equipped how to handle life. And then they go out into life expecting things to be given to them or done for them. And then they end up falling on their ass because life doesn't go that way. So if you're a parent, this will be a message for you. I think many parents have a tendency to overdo things because we don't want our kids to suffer the way we have suffered. It's a beautiful thing. But making sure that you don't overstep that threshold or that boundary, so to speak. And yeah, it's really important. For others of you who are healers, particularly if your job or your career requires you, or actually is about you helping others, same thing. Make sure that you give your client or your patient time to figure it out on their own. Give him guidance, give her support, whatever it is. But you can't convince them. They have to find this out for themselves. For others of you, if you are in a family and you are, let's say you're taking care of somebody, and let's say, here's an example. Let's say you know someone who is maybe a little bit into addictions, not huge, but into addictions. And you really want to help this person, and you really, really want to help this person. So you try and do everything to convince this person to take them to this or that. But the person is really not making any, this person is not really taking it on. He's just kind of tagging along with you. At a certain point, you're going to have to realize that whatever it is that you're trying to do for this person is not ready to either get, understand, or experience or accept. And pushing any further or any longer won't do much either. And I'm going here, well, what if somebody's really sick and they're not taking medication, for example, because they refuse? It's the same thing. Unless you can force something or someone on someone and make it the way you feel it should be, chances are it's not going to happen until that person is ready. And I'm not talking about people who are really sick and they have to be taken care of because they can't. I'm not talking about that, obviously. You guys know what I'm talking about. Helping without interference. I think that's going to speak for itself. And is there anything else I want to give to them? Butterfly is your theme. I think butterfly is a theme for everybody these days. This is my sign for transformation, for death. But I do feel butterfly is your theme because many of you are coming out of a cocoon, and which symbolizes an end of an era, an end of a struggle, an end of something that has been perhaps pressing you down or keeping you oppressed within yourself. And it is through death and rebirth that we, start new. And there couldn't be a more appropriate card than the Empress, okay? And solar consciousness, actually. And I feel that's what I'm going to leave with you. There's a lot of threes here, so there's a symbol. 3 is very symbolic here for some of you. I'm going to leave this with you. Yes, this was very different than the last video that I recorded for you, although I now know, I believe, why I had to experience that, and I've said that at the beginning. With that said, please keep in mind it's not it is a general message, so it's not going to hit everybody, if you will. But from what you tell me, it makes sense to you a lot towards the end of a month. So listen to it, maybe even towards July or maybe even towards August. I wish you best of luck. Please take care of yourself. Whatever gifts you are receiving from the universe, just appreciate it for what it is. Don't try to give it any labels, and then see where it leads you. And with that said, I wish you best of luck, as much as you can possibly take it. Take care of yourself, and see you soon.